Yo, double up, man, I'm trying to add zeros. Them man there for the other win, but we got it last minute, man, I feel like Aguero. Long time, I've been dishing out CVs. Back down, I speak to a boss. And my young bro linking these girls, now he pissed, he got makeup on his Fendi top. I'm on route to a mill like Heskey. And my city, man, coming for the sterling, I'm feeling like Stanley, so we might get tech. And this ain't no Bentley. She pull us up like I said. She said she wanna go to the finals. Could she even hold this semi?
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy E, 1/3 of the High Press Podcast, and I'm here with another guest. Yes, because I love y'all. It's like my third podcast in like 5 days. I'm killing it. Took a little 5-month COVID hiatus, but we back, you know what I'm saying? And I got my boy Rui in the building, you know, Porto super fan. And we're going to talk a little Dortmund and Bayern. And we're also going to get into Liga NOS. And, you know, I'm gonna ask him something about that because that's one of those leagues that you don't really hear too much about. So, Rui, man, what's going on, yo? Talk to the people. Introduce yourself.
What's up, Eric? Followers, what's up? Thank you for allowing me to come on, share some soccer knowledge, but most important, just talk about soccer during this time period of COVID-19. Luckily, we got some games on TV, you know, that we're able to watch. A quick background on myself. I'm a Westchester kid, Westchester, New York. I was born and raised in Portugal. I was actually born in Porto. Moved to the United States at 8 years old. Lived in Westchester County since then. And soccer's been my lifestyle, you know. Love soccer, played soccer.
Ever since I've known Rui and shit. You know what I'm saying? Always played soccer in high school. You know me. I was on a baseball team and a football team and all that, but you like literally live and breathe soccer. And I remember
absolutely.
back in the day, you used to tell me, you used to be like, yo, E, get into soccer. And I'm like, whatever. Now look, I got a fucking soccer podcast. Go figure.
There you go. Yeah, man. Back in the day, you know, I went to high school here in Westchester, actually Sleepy Hollow High School, mid-90s kid. Yeah, right?
Whoa.
Home of the Headless.
all day, son.
Home of the Headless Horseman. You know, we did it. I'm not going to lie. You can look it up. We had a squad back then, mid-90s. We did our thing. Ranked in the state. Unfortunately, come playoff time, we choked. We choked.
Fuck it, happens, man. It is what it is.
We had a couple of dudes on our high school squad that played on the Chile U17 national team before they moved into the area.
So y'all had some legit dudes. So
basically, we have very legit players.
Sleepy Hollow was bringing in them ringers, huh?
We had one ringer. We had a Brazilian kid. He could run like 200 miles an hour, bro. He was a version of Bebeto, but like 20 times faster. Legit.
He was not from Sleepy Hollow, was he?
Nah, he was from the freaking favelas in Sao Paulo, and somebody brought him here for 1 year, and he was chilling on our squad.
Hey,
but
he was killing, huh?
Yeah, but we did have a squad our junior year. We actually went undefeated during the regular season and lost in the first round in the playoffs.
That's some bum shit. Well, boo, y'all. Boo. Everybody do that. Whoa.
Yeah. So that was my high school thing. We also had a club team. We played we had a legit club team for the Portuguese club in Terrytown. And at that time, there wasn't many club teams in the area. The it club team at the time was FC Westchester. At that time, FC Westchester was top 5 nationally ranked in terms of boys U19 soccer squads for travel teams. So we played with them a couple of times, and we more than held our own kind of thing. But, you know, soccer has taken off, you know, within the last 25 years. So that's my background in terms of soccer.
Especially here and shit. Yeah, we'll talk more about Porto and all of that coming up. But let's get into this Dortmund Bayern game real quick. What were your initial thoughts of the match? 1-0 Bayern beats Dortmund.
So first thoughts I saw is I heard booing, I heard cheering, I heard a bunch of things as if there was fans in the stands. I was working and watching the game, and I looked up to wonder how is there booing and cheering and whistling, and they were piping sound into the stadium, which I thought was awesome because if you were looking down and not looking at the TV, you thought there was fans on the stand, and whoever was setting that up, when Bayern had the ball, you heard the booing, whistling. when Dortmund had the ball, you heard some of the other cheering kind of. So it was pretty cool. I thought that part was fun. Unfortunately, we're going through this time period that we are. Bayern's got a strong squad, man. They really
they're deep
are
everywhere, bro.
legit. And I'll start off on Dortmund. I love Dortmund. I think Dortmund's got a really good squad. You know, the poor chop Rafa Guerrero's been holding his own legitly.
He's been killing it, bro.
Playing a position that he doesn't usually play. And then in the club team, he does. You know, it's more of an attacking player on the left side versus what he does in the national team as a left back defender. Dortmund's got a good squad. Overall, they legit have a good squad, starting with Hummels in the back, whose senior leadership means so much in the German league. But my concern about Dortmund is you take Haaland out, he's option number one. What is option number two in terms of a striker backup position? Today, you can tell that he might have been a little nervous playing Bayern. Kid's only, 17, 8 years old?
He seemed really frustrated, though.
Right, frustrated. But then sometimes that doesn't work out, and that's okay. So what's option B? And I felt like in an attacking striker role, right now, Dortmund does not have a proper plan B to go to. Should Haaland have an off game, or a change should be made to where they need more of an attacking style of play? But overall, I think Dortmund is a really, really good team, and they play beautiful football. But I mean, Bayern's Bayern. I mean, Bayern's loaded from the front to the back. I mean, Alphonso Davies, really? From the MLS, this kid is legit.
He's the beast, yo.
You will see a highlight where he runs back 40 yards and he catches a player, might have been Haaland, inside the box.
It was Haaland, yeah.
He catches him by 40 yards.
60-yard sprint.
You know, he is truly legit, and it's cool to watch a kid who grew up in the MLS, you know, had his little time in the MLS, go right into Germany, 1 year, year and a half, and now he's showcasing his stuff. Yeah.
He took that spot, bro.
Yeah, he's a legit. But, I mean, Bayern's just loaded all around from front to back. I mean, they were missing Thiago Alcantara today in the midfield, whom to me is a legit underrated player for Bayern. He does the little things that aren't talked about.
Right.
And he was missing in the midfield, and you did not notice a difference. And, you know, you got guys in the back, and then you got Kimmich, who to me, he's Bayern. Take Lewandowski out the game because, you know, strikers get all the girls, of course, get all the goals and all that.
Right about
but for me, Kimmich, he is their MVP. He's a really, really good player who started out as either a center back or a fullback.
No, it was a right back.
Right back.
He was a right back. I think he probably played a little center back as well, but then, you know, they had injuries. I think they moved him up a little bit, and now he's playing at central defensive mid. And he had that fucking chip shot today, which all right, what to the chip shot? Was it more skill or was it more a fault on Roman Berkey for coming out so much and allowing?
You know, I give him both props because if you look at the replay in slow motion, you know that he's doing the chip shot on purpose. But I also felt the goalie, he's got to have stronger hands.
Yeah.
I felt like the ball hitting his hand as he was trying to flicker over the crossbar, I felt like his hand wasn't strong enough. You see these goalies, they have strong hands. Where the ball hits your finger, that ball is moving a totally different direction. I felt like his strong hand didn't allow him to make a better handle of the ball. But you got to give him credit on that goal. He really did that on purpose. You see the replay in slow motion, he legitimately did that on purpose. And from a guy who's defensive-minded like he is, that was a golazo. That was a legit goal.
And it turned out to be the only goal of the game. I mean, to me, it wasn't a boring match, but I see, you know, a lot of people that like criticize soccer and all that. They're like, yeah, okay, you got two of the best teams in the league and they only score one goal between them, you know, but it was a lot of kind of back and forth because I think Dortmund, for like the first 10 minutes of it, Dortmund came out firing. Haaland had a shot on goal in like 30 seconds. You know, they came out, they tested Neuer like 3 or 4 times, I think, in the first 10 minutes. And you were like, oh, shit, Dortmund's coming out to play today.
Yep.
But then pretty much after that, I guess Bayern got their legs under them, and they pretty much kind of controlled everything, and they had the best chances too of the matches. I think what happened is because Dortmund, like you were saying, if Haaland, if he doesn't score, right, who's their other options? Well, they are going through injury. Marco Reus, he's one of their better players. He wasn't playing. They, for whatever reason, Jadon Sancho was on the bench today. I don't know. I don't know what that was about, but what they like to do, just like you said, they like to get those fullbacks up and down, and that's what actually creates most of the offense for Bayern. It's Rafa Guerrero. It's also my guy, Hakimi, on the left wing. They're the guys that are interchanging and putting those crosses in and cutting inside and, passing through balls. I think Hakimi had a pretty bad game today in comparison to his game on Saturday.
Right, because now you got a lot more to worry about. Now,
right,
Hakimi and Rafa Guerrero are offensive-minded fullbacks or offensive-minded players within the Dortmund formation. But now we're playing a team of Bayern's capability that has
Serge Gnabry,
players.
Kingsley Coman.
So you as Guerrero and as Hakimi, you want to think offense, but you're like, shit, man, I got Coman on my ass. I'm not going to go those extra 15 yards that I would against any other squad because I know in about 5 seconds he's going down the left sideline and I'm going to be chasing him. So that kind of mindset might also, be in someone's head of being offensive-minded one weekend to the next weekend versus Bayern, kind of giving some and taking some and not being fully offensive-minded,
right.
Totally legit players. I mean, you got Kimmich who's starting role and he's sitting down a player like Javi Martinez. Javi Martinez was a stud when he was playing in Spain before he went to Bayern. And he's riding the bench because he can't get
on the field. Yeah,
it's crazy the level of bench players that Bayern has. Of course, we can't compare the dollar amounts. Of course, that's wasted, but that's a whole different topic for another show. But, the options on a bench night and day versus Dortmund because Dortmund, they got money to spend. It'd be nice for them to sign, a nice attacking striker to help plan V in a time like today where if they needed to go all out and attack less 10 minutes, let's bring in strikers. And I feel like they didn't have, people for that.
Yeah, today, they subbed on Jadon Sancho at the half. I think even on Saturday, too, the team just looks better with Jadon Sancho in it.
Yep.
So, I don't know why he came off the bench again. Maybe it's a fitness thing. I don't know. There was a long break. Maybe he tends to have injuries. But also one thing that they did with Sancho is they brought him in. They brought him in for like a central midfielder. They put him on the left to begin with, and then they played for about 10 minutes, and then him and Hazard switched off. And then so he moved over to the right because I think that's where he's more comfortable at. But why do you think Sancho came off the bench again in one of the most important games of the year?
Their last game, he came in midway through the second half, and when he came in, game changed.
He came in like the 60th minute, and then it was all Dortmund from there.
He took game over. The game was on his feet, and you could see that the game changed, and he was one of the main reasons for that. I saw he came in at halftime today. Do I think he's a 90-minute player at this moment? My answer will probably be no. Again, I don't know. If you start him and you start Haaland and then he's tired and Haaland's tired, frustrated, who are you going to put in their spot?
Who are you going to bring on?
So I could understand why they did what they did. Again, you're starting Sancho today, and if Sancho needs to come out after 60 minutes and Haaland comes out, now you're relying on Gio Reyna to be your first substitution off the bench.
Gio Reyna actually came in today because Haaland went out hurt.
Tough to ask for a kid who's 17, only turning 18, I think, in November. Right. Tough to ask. I mean, he's got the bloodlines and all that, but, it's tough to ask for a 17-year-old kid to say, I need you to do your thing today. By the way, we're playing Bayern. You got to have the mentality.
For the trophy, basically.
Right, it's for the trophy. you can have all the skill you want, but when it comes to a derby of this level against a Bayern, against, players like Lewandowski and, Alaba and Boateng and Kim, you got to have the mentality up here in your head. Your talent's always going to be there, but it's the mentality, the game mentality, that's also going to push you towards the win. And, right now I think Bayern have more of that senior type level mentality, more experienced mentality.
Yeah. Now, there was a little controversy on. I think it was like the 58th minute.
Penalty.
Haaland had a shot, right? I guess Jerome Boateng kind of slipped, so he was on the ground. He was trying to get back up, so his arm was like on the ground, trying to prop him to get back up. Haaland's shot actually deflected off his arm. Is that a penalty?
Before I say if it's a penalty or not, I have one problem. The play did not even go to VAR. If I remember correctly. That's my problem number one.
Yeah, that's true.
Why isn't that play going to VAR? Take 30 seconds, review it. We're talking about the biggest game in Germany for the remainder of the season. That's basically going to define, that's either going to lead Bayern to the championship or bring this a lot closer. It should have gone to the VAR. I know that for a fact, and it did not. Is it a penalty? It's tough to say. But look at the replay in slow motion. Boateng looks back at the ball, and he sticks out his elbow. So for that reason...
It's a PK?
It would have been, again, it should have gone to VAR. Leave it to the VAR people. 50-50. 50-50. That's how I look at it.
If you were the ref, would you have given it?
It's tough because I would say yes, because the trajectory of the ball going to the net is impeded by his elbow that he sticks out. So to me, his elbow is not parallel with the body. I understand he's on the floor, but his elbow is stuck out. Right, his elbow is out, his arm is out, and that would be the only reason why I would give it a PK, because he is stopping the shot from going on net. That would be the only reason. If they would call it either way, I wouldn't have an argument. That's why I say 50-50. I'm more upset that VAR didn't get a chance to review it.
If I'm the ref, I'm not calling that a PK.
But you have to send it to VAR. VAR has to review it though. Okay. That's the whole and it happens in all countries. This is a perfect reason why we have VAR. If it's there, let's use it properly so people say positive things about it and not just negative things about it. I felt like in this way is stop the game, go to VAR, and make your decision. And if it's no PK, continue, but at least you went to VAR.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, so like we said, this pretty much kind of wraps it up. 7 points with like 6 games left.
Yeah.
Something like this. Dortmund, they have Leverkusen, they have Gladbach, but both of those teams lost today. Fucking Leverkusen got beat like 4-1, I think. They got destroyed by Wolfsburg. And I think Gladbach drew with a whack team. So you never know. I think this is pretty much it. Dortmund had their shot. Once again, as my last guest that was here, Byron Ryan, he's like, Dortmund are known for being really good, and then at the end they bottle it. They fuck it up. They don't.
Yeah, but I think this is, when you don't have fans in the stands and stuff, the mentality of the player, I think, is totally different, where you get hyped up when you see 80,000+ fans in the stands. And when you go into the stadium and you don't see fans, I think your level of being hyped doesn't get to that level of a day-to-day, But unless something goes drastically wrong, I think this is Bayern's and it's in the bag, I could see Dortmund making a little push. I could see Dortmund running the table, but I just don't see Bayern, having any faults.
Dropping any points.
No,
yeah,
not at all.
It's over. Yeah. Especially when they have 5 subs now, too. So
right.
that means Bayern could put somebody in for 45 minutes and then save him for the next week. No.
Right. Again, and that's another thing when we just spoke before on Bayern's bench versus Dortmund's bench. Now that gives Bayern 5 legit subs, not 3 legit subs. And can we say the same thing about Dortmund about 5 legit subs? No, we can't. That's why I think it's another advantage for Bayern.
So, speaking of, advantages and all of that, you actually made a trip to Dortmund to watch Porto, who's your favorite club, versus Dortmund. So tell us a little bit about that experience. Like, because I've never been to a soccer match outside of the U.S. And like I think like 3 of the 5 matches I went to were played in football stadiums. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different experience. So tell us a little bit about the Dortmund game.
Dude, it was, as people say, a hashtag away days.
Yeah,
it
crazy.
was probably my favorite soccer experience of my life. My team lost 2-0, but I don't even think about it.
Doesn't matter.
Because
it doesn't matter.
I don't. I went, it was me, my boy JP, who you know, and my boy Steve and his 2 brothers. There was 5 of us. Shout out JP. There was 5 of us from Austin, all from Austin. It was like a last minute kind of thing. We saw flights into Dusseldorf for $400 round trip. I was like, whoa. This is getting good. JP's got a connection with the Porto supporters in the Porto Stadium for tickets. We bought the flight. We got the hotel. We were out. A couple of days before, our tickets got held up at customs at JFK.
Matter of fact, and who did you call to go see about your tickets?
It was you. Now that you say that, it was you.
It was me. Yeah.
So what we did is we ended up buying tickets on a European StubHub just to be careful. The afternoon we were to leave, the tickets came in. We literally went to the post office in Austin, picked up the tickets, and bounced to the airport. Like, legitly bounced. I was like, I don't care. I paid an extra 50 euros for a ticket. Who gives a shit? It's the best 50 euros I spent because I knew I had my Porto supporters ticket now in hand. Cool trip. We fly to Germany. We first landed in Dusseldorf, and then we jumped on a train into Dortmund. We chilled the first night. Dortmund's historic city. Went out that night, chilled at the bars, whatever. We actually rented an Airbnb on a strip. It's one of the longest strips in Europe that has just bars and restaurants straight through. So we were just straight chilling. Game day, all Porto supporters, about 3,000 of us from all over Europe. I want to say we might have been the only United States supporters there.
For real?
And the reason why we did this trip, Porto was the reason, but if you're a soccer fan, you know that Dortmund Stadium is one of the most legit stadiums in the world for a fan to go experience a game day experience.
Donald Trump did
Compared to like Chicago Cubs in baseball, Yankees, the old stadium, Dallas Cowboys, Lambeau Field with the Packers, I'll compare it to that level. 3,000 of us Porto fans met in a town square, drank and sang, lit up smoke bombs for like 2 hours, and then we start walking to the stadium. So we walking, we're getting police are guiding us. I wish I would have sent you pictures ahead of time so we could share them, but I'll... We got police escort. We went on a road that was like the Sawmill Parkway, a 2-lane parkway. They closed off that parkway. We're walking in the middle of it towards the subway stop. I'll send you the link for the YouTube video of us in the subway, which was sick. the subway to the Dortmund Stadium, and then when we get there, it's just the greatest fan experience. When you walk in, you see you're a soccer fan, you're like Dortmund, you know what the wall is all about.
Yeah,
we were
that
opposite
wall was
side.
crazy, right?
The
Yeah,
wall was I stood up and I clapped for the wall because I don't like to clap for opposing fans, but I was clapping more for the respect of the fan doing what they were doing, because I can appreciate that. When you have fans that do a big tifo or something crazy, the wall was just sick. And if you see the wall is like, it's not even on a 45-inch incline. That thing is like a 70-inch incline. You think people are just going to fall on top of each other.
Yeah, that shit is crazy.
I mean, that part was just crazy. Porto lost 2-0. It was for Europa League. But again, the game day experience was truly amazing. The stadium was dope, but seeing the wall and just being in that game day environment was freaking badass, man. I truly have to say that. It was my first and only away day I've done outside of Portugal. Of course, we'd all love to get to other stadiums, but I feel like this will be hard to top. And being that you saw your team there, regardless if they won or lost,
right? It
was
adds
cool.
the extra layer on it. Yeah.
Right. So I saw my team, but I saw them in a stadium that I've always wanted to go see. Where if it's somebody wanting to go to Turkey and see a Galatasaray Fenerbahce game, or go to Argentina and see a Boca River game, Dortmund Stadium was pretty freaking legit, and it was cheap, bro. It was cheap.
That's great. That's the craziest.
Which is insane. Right? Airline ticket, it came out to be $400. The Airbnb, it was like $80 each. The game ticket was like $30. Everything else is spending money, so it was great. We bounced on a Wednesday night. No, excuse me. We bounced on a Tuesday night, and we got home on a Sunday night. It's perfect, 4 days.
And actually, me and my cousin this summer, we were planning to go to South America for the tournament, because it was going to be held in Colombia and I forgot what the other country was. It was like a split one. It's like Colombia and Chile or whatever. So we were gonna go fly down, watch a game in each country, and then fly back. But the tournament canceled, this whole COVID shit, so I couldn't do that. I still haven't fucking seen a game in a real stadium.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of the Red Bull games, and props to you on that. That's pretty dope, and not putting that atmosphere down. But
the stadium is beautiful. We just got to get people in there. Yo,
exactly.
I'm telling you, bro, for what game was it? I was in there for CONCACAF, the CONCACAF whatever, right? The Gold Cup. I was in there for Haiti and Trinidad, bro. You know how popping that game was?
Right, exactly.
We live in New York, in Jersey.
Right.
There's a lot of Trinidadians and a lot of Haitians. They all came in, and it was 2 games that day. So then you had fans from Panama and Costa Rica. So it was crazy. That shit was the fullest I've ever seen Red Bull Arena, and it was lit. It was probably the best night that I had in that arena, just because when I go to Red Bull games, it's usually nobody there.
Right. You're always going to get that when it's national teams, because, people are going to represent for their country.
Yeah,
flags is coming out. Shirts is coming out. Curry goat's going to be done out in the parking lot. Everybody's coming out for that. But when it's Red Bulls, it's different. That's why I said when you get to experience a club game outside of the U.S., I think you'll truly recognize what the passion. And I want to use the word passion because in soccer, I don't think the passion is there yet from a lot of people. People like yourself show passion towards the soccer, right. Being, that you're USA bred, based, and born and stuff like that. But these other countries, man, you got to remember, it's people live and die by their soccer club. Yeah. People's mentality, people's day-to-day well-being relies on their soccer
till I
club.
Die, bro. Sunderland, that town literally lives and dies with the football.
And if you're in the supporter section, I mean, outside of work, outside of your regular job, everything is based on the soccer team and your day-to-days of what you do, whether you're helping paint a tifo or you're learning a supporter song or something. That is what your free time is all about. And it's just a different level of soccer. I don't, it is a different level of soccer playing. Like I think we could all agree to that, but I think in the fans, totally night and day is just insane. So I highly recommend it. Hashtag away days. I'll share pictures with you. I'll send a YouTube video of 3,000 Porto supporters. It's actually funny how we got this video. 3,000 Porto supporters in a subway station. A Dortmund fan on the other side filmed us.
He was the one that was filming it?
Filmed us arriving and all that, put it out there. It became viral, and that's how we got a hold of it. It's hard to – you can see JP from a distance because of, JP's a big dude.
He's kind of big, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just like you'll see like the whole energy. You'll see how it is. It's not like NYCFC on, on Bronx Avenue over there on 162nd, where you get
Grand Concourse, yeah.
Yeah, on Grand Concourse, where where they're hanging out flyers for Sin City while you got like 25 people. We're talking about 3,000 legit Porto supporters in full song in a subway station. So I'll share that info with you as well.
That's great. Matter of fact, speaking on it, transition to Porto. That's your favorite club, your boyhood club and stuff. And we can also talk about the Portuguese league and stuff. Are there any like new updates? I haven't really heard much about Liga Live. They haven't canceled the season yet, right?
No. So the season will start up next week, June 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. Right now, Porto's in first place by 1 point. We've played Benfica already twice this season. We've beat them both times. So technically we have the advantage should there be a tie at the end of the season. But again, we start up next Wednesday. And my understanding is that the Portuguese league will have at the minimum 1 game per week going forward starting next Wednesday. So, we're glad that's finally taken off. Portugal's actually doing really well in terms of COVID, they're doing the proper tests and stuff like that. So, again, it starts up again next Wednesday, and hopefully my team can hold it down. But we got about I think it's about 7 to 8 games remaining, if I'm not mistaken. So
I always try to watch League Nines games, but unless you got like Fubo TV or you stream it or something like that, they don't really have it on like the channels. Like it's not on BN, it's not on Fox.
Right. I don't know if you have here in Westchester County through Optimum, we have a channel called Gold TV.
Gold TV. Actually, you know what? I have DirecTV. Fuck DirecTV, by the way. I'm about to cancel that shit. I have it, but you have to pay for like a different package and shit.
Yeah, it's an added subscription. Actually, Gold TV, they're actually doing a really legit job in terms of promoting and showing games from Liga NOS in Portugal. They'll easily show 4 games live per week on Gold TV. So that's one of the options that I use. And then I also have a little
streaming sites and shit, right?
Yeah. Actually, better than a streaming site. Some guy created this thing. I get Portuguese channels for free and then some. I pay $150 a year.
Oh,
I act like I live in Portugal right now.
Okay. So you got a little hookup. You got a little,
Yeah.
you got a little cable. People still do that. Cable guys still give you that.
To me, it's not. To me, it's through an app. I register, I pay, I sign in, and now I get access to the Portuguese channels as if I'm in Portugal in front of my TV. If people are still streaming games nowadays because that's their only option, I haven't streamed a game in like 4 years. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm actually looking at the table right now. So everybody has played 24 games, right? Yep. So Porto is number 1 with 60 points. Benfica's number 2 with 59. And then third place is Sporting Braga. They got 46 points. So it's pretty much just you guys and Benfica.
Yep, it's just us two.
For the title.
What a lot of people don't know is you come in Portugal this year, coming in first place guarantees you 2 important things when it comes to the Portuguese league. Direct entry into the group stage of the Champions League and 45 million euros in your pocket. And we can all use that as a smaller league like the Portugal League.
Yeah.
Because you come in second place, that means you're going to qualify to try and get into the group stage. You got to remember, we're going to have a shortened off season this summer. Teams that got to qualify, they're going to get like a couple weeks break and get right back at it. It's going to be a lot of going on.
And also, they're going to be playing teams like the 5th and 6th team from the Premier League, from from the Spanish League. Those teams aren't slouches. They're way better than fucking Tondela or Rio.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why, it's very important. They were thinking about, in Portugal at the time, just like the Belgium league did, they were thinking about canceling the season. If they would have canceled the season, I would have been okay with that. If they would have canceled the season without naming a champion, I would have been okay with that because it is a 1-point difference.
Right.
But if they would have canceled the season and not awarded Portugal that Champions League slot, direct entry slot, I would have had something to say about that because
that probably had a lot to do with it too. Because you're right. If they don't crown a champion, who gets it?
Right. In Portugal, just like a lot of countries have, in Portugal there is a lot of legit. I don't want to use the word mafia, but there's a lot of legit corruption going on in terms of
everywhere in soccer.
People in the government and what clubs they associate. You've heard about that hacker Rui Pinto that hacked.
You are Rui Pinto. That's it. From now on, that's your name. Every time you come on the show, Rui Pinto's back.
So you know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So he's a Porto fan. Right? He just happens to be a Porto fan. I'm not saying this because he happens to be a Porto fan, and he is now he was jailed up because he has files, and we're talking about thousands of files that would show the corruption in terms within the Portuguese government, judges, and everybody and their mother.
Everybody's taking a little cut, right?
Right. So right now they moved him out of jail, and he's homebound. And he's going to go to court. And, of course, the judge that supposedly is going to see or take hold of his trial is a well-known Benfica fan. I'm like, how can this shit happen? You know what I'm saying? Like a well-known, sitting in the president's box during games, He
wanted to stick him a little extra for that Porto Benfica shit, right?
And he has files not just about Portugal and Portuguese government throughout he has files of, Man City they got hit with this UEFA ban. It started because of his files and things that he leaked out there. So there's a lot of scared governments. I'm sure UEFA's scared. There's a lot of people that are scared that if this information gets out, it's going to be a lot of questions that are going to need to be answered. So, interesting times. I wish you had some info on Trump so we get this fucking guy out of here. But shout out to my Trump supporters, but I'm not one of them.
Me neither, bro. If you listen to the podcast, cool, man. I appreciate you. We can talk out our differences, man.
Exactly.
So specifically Porto, since that's your team. Well, not even just specifically them. The whole league in general. It's a sellers league. Porto are a sellers team. Yep. They have won Champions League, so yep. It's not like I'm downplaying their accomplishments or anything like that, but just the model it's similar to Dortmund in the fact that they buy young, they build them up, and then they sell on for 5 times what they bought.
Absolutely. Teams like Porto, Benfica, and Sporting and Braga, we're known as we buy young from South America, Mexico in terms of Porto. We mold them for 3 years, and we sell them at a huge profit.
A lot of
Porto's
Brazilians, a lot of Portuguese kids, a lot of Argentinian kids.
Yeah, you got perfect example in Porto. I'll use 2 great examples of James Rodriguez. He was in Banfield, Argentina, playing for that club. We bought him for cheap. We sold him for a lot of money. Falcao was playing for River Plate. Colombian Falcao, the forward, the striker. Mm-hmm. We bought him, sold him for massive money. Jackson Martinez, Colombian, bought him 3 years, sold him for a lot of money.
He's playing in China right now, right?
No, he's playing. Jackson Martinez is playing. If you look at your table there's a team called Portimonense, which is on the southern of Portugal. They're basically his team is like on the dope beaches in Portugal, like the South Beach version of Portugal.
Okay, word.
So he's probably chilling, but he got a bad knee injury that truly did not,
Jackson Martinez was nice, especially for Porto. Like
he was nice, but there's when they leave Porto, is like their level never takes that one step up. You got a couple of guys like Ricardo Carvalho or Deco, when they left after the 2004 Champions League, their level of play stood up there. Ricardo Carvalho in the EPL was a beast. People talk about Virgil van Dijk right now, who's an absolute beast, but I don't think the EPL has the level of strikers of what, say, was in 2004 in the terms of like Drogba and those cats. You had cats back then where compared to now it's not that level. But Ricardo Carvalho then was what Virgil van Dijk is now. So like the level of we buy cheap, we homegrown, and then we sell them for big time money. And we need to because, we have finances that we need to, to keep at a higher level. That's why when a team like Porto or Benfica, that's why when they don't make a group stage of Champions League or they don't make it out of a group stage, the finances hit them hard, and they,
like they're really dependent on that.
Because if they don't make money, it might mean, we need to sell one of our youngsters. Perfect example of Porto is Porto a couple of years ago was in dire finances. They, finances got messed up because there were some people within the board that, were doing some things that didn't work out well. So what did Porto have to do? Porto had to sell Ruben Neves for about 15 to 18 million euros.
So he came over to Wolves, and he's been killing ever since.
Dude, Ruben Neves, 17 years old, was already one of the captains at Porto and was starting in the Champions League at 17 years old. He's one of those rare breeds that had the captain's armband at 17 years old during an official soccer game. So those guys in the Portuguese league don't come around often. Therefore, Porto needed to take advantage of it when it came a proper time to sell them. But due to us being in financial needs because of Champions Leagues that we didn't perform as well, we needed to get our money somewhere else. So.
Well, I mean, obviously Porto, but not just Porto. You had one of the biggest transfers recently that just came out. João Felix, $140-something million from Benfica. Personally, I don't think he was worth it. But do you want to comment on João Felix? Do you think he was?
Well, can I take a step back and let you know that he was in Porto before he moved to Benfica?
Oh, he was. See, I didn't. You know what? Now that you say it, I kind of look at it. So he went from Porto to Benfica.
So when he was about, I think, 10 or 11, he left. He was in Porto, and his body, from what I understand, and I can understand why they made this, his body wasn't changing towards the work that he was putting in. He was always a skinny kid. His body wasn't getting fuller. He wasn't putting on as much muscle as they expected him to. He had talent, but they thought he wasn't going to make it because his body wasn't going to, evolve into a soccer player's body. His parents brought him to Benfica, and that was the end of that. They gave him a trial. They saw him playing some tournaments here and there kind of thing, and they took him on, and he became what it was. Props to him for working hard and all that stuff. He actually has a younger brother that's going to be better than him, supposedly.
Crazy
so
too,
keep an
yeah.
eye on that. But 126 million euros, was he worth that? No, because I don't think, other than a couple of players, I don't think anybody's worth that. But that is the risk you take of coming from a country that Ronaldo's from, and people saying this guy can be like Ronaldo, this guy can be like Ronaldo. Unfortunately, he's very injury prone. Again, he got hurt yesterday by spraining ligaments in the knee, if I'm not mistaken. And he's very injury prone. Take the injuries out the way. I think he is a really great player. I am not sure, though, if an Atletico Madrid team managed by Simeone is the proper team for him to be in. I think, and thank God it didn't happen, but if he would have stayed at Benfica one more year to really mold himself and get that extra year under his belt, I truly think he could have gone. Don't get me wrong, Atletico Madrid is a big team. I seriously think he could have gone somewhere bigger and be more of an experienced player.
Yeah. He could have went to PSG, to Real Madrid or something like that.
Absolutely. But again, he's very injury prone, and I think people have started to get, tired of the excuse of, oh, he's hurt again, and that's something to really keep an eye out for, because Atletico Madrid is not a team to just say, you know what, here's 126 million euros. They're not a team to spend like that. They spend pretty wisely. But one thing that worked to their advantage is they were able to sign him and pay Benfica in 4 different installments, which does help out. You don't have to pay everything up front and take those dollars away from something else. Yeah. So they are paying
25 here, 20 here.
Right, they are paying. I think it comes out to be about like 30 million euros in like 4 different installments, if I'm not mistaken. So, but he's injury prone, but he's skilled. He's a really, really good player.
There's somebody else that recently just left. My guy Bruno Fernandes. He went over to Man U. He looked good in Man U, man. A lot of people questioned it. They were like, oh, he plays in Portugal. There's really no competition. How good is he? He came to the Premier League and he showed exactly. Manchester United, night and day.
Yep. So before he came to the Portuguese league, he went to Italy very young. Very, very young to Italy, where he played, I think, in either Udinese or Sampdoria, very young. Great story is he wanted to come to Porto from Italy. Porto at that time they had the funds, they just were going in other directions. So he came from Italy to Sporting for about 10 million euros, which was an okay deal at the time, because for a team like Sporting to pay 10 million euros for a player, the player's got to have some kind of name or some kind of potential. And at that time, he didn't have that big potential as we now know.
Right.
But he is legit. I think Man United got him at a bargain, because I think he is a lot more worth than what they paid for him. He's truly for what you saw in the games that he played versus what Man U was before, a whole different team.
He totally transformed that team. He was clearly
and there's
one
one
of the
person
best
there's one person that can fuck this all up.
Who?
Paul Pogba. If he comes back into that midfield and tries to assume like he's the man and all that, get him out the team, man, because the team is playing good with Fernandes in the middle. He's legit. He's an offensive mid, scores goals. I'm not talking about just PKs. We're talking about goals and the running play. He scores lots of goals. He is a legit offensive midfielder.
He takes free kicks,
Yeah.
He does all of that. So like who's so like we've been saying, we say, Cristiano and all of that stuff, João Felix. We're saying a lot of names coming out of the Portuguese league. Who are like the next young crop of like kids coming out? Like, who do you see from any of the teams making kind of like a big splash move somewhere?
Yeah, if you give me a second, I'll run some players through the top 4 teams in Portugal. I'm not trying to be just Porto biased, because we are talking about Liga NOS, so let's give some shout-outs to the other teams, because they do have players.
How diplomatic of you, sir. applause.
So, but we're gonna start with Porto, though. All right.
Of course we are. You fucking
So,
biased.
so right now, I think the main one for Porto is our striker Fabio Silva. I don't know if you saw him in the FIFA EA Sports freaking FIFA 20 that they had on ESPN2. He represented Porto, but he's on the A squad. He is our backup striker, and the kid's 17 years old. Legit number 9 striker. Now here's a tidbit about him. He was in Benfica before he came to Porto.
So that probably happens a lot more than people think. They go.
It doesn't happen as much as you think. It just happens to be that João Felix and this guy happen to go back and forth. But this guy is a true Portista. He's a legit striker, number 9, knack for the goal. He needs to get stronger. His pace and play needs to get faster. But the kid just turned 17 years old a couple of months ago. So not asking him too much about that. We also have another kid. His name is Tomas Esteves. Just turned 18, right back. Supposedly they say he's the future of right back in Europe, especially in Portugal. He's on the A team. He's working in a backup role right now. He just needs to get that game rhythm going right now. But he's a really what right backs are nowadays. Offensive-minded.
Bomb forward, hitting in crosses.
Exactly. Dani Alves type player. We have a little short midfielder, Victor Ferreira. Short guy, but the guy has a heart of gold. He reminds me of like Javi from Barca or Iniesta. Just the way he plays. He plays elegant and he plays smart. And if he has 100 passes in a game, he'll maybe miss about 2 or 3 of those. Again, he just needs to get experience. Our next great center back, and this will be the last guy I talk from Porto, is Diogo Leite, who is 21 years old. One of our starting center backs just tore his ACL this week, so he might step into a starting role. Again, he's a legit center back, tall. He was linked to Liverpool a couple of years ago until Porto increased his buyout clause. Jumping over to Benfica, they have one 19-year-old kid he has Portuguese origins, Portuguese citizenship, but he's out of Guinea-Bissau, which is an African territory. His name is Umaro Embalo. Really good attacking player. I don't know who he reminds me of, but he's just really good offensive-minded player who just needs to get A-team rhythm. But Umaro Embalo is his name. Sporting has a left back who they say is a top left back in Europe in the U19 category. His name is Nuno Mendes.
Bro, I fucking love the Portuguese teams, bro. I mean, the Portuguese names, bro. And first of all, everybody's name is fucking João, first of all. And then they kind of like, and the names just flow so well,
Yeah, exactly. So this guy, Nuno Mendes, just turned 17, top left back in Europe in the U19 category. Liverpool this week has been scouting him. So that's going to be interesting to see how that moves forward. Sporting does need money because they're in some financial crisis. Again, we get into the case of they might have to sell their best young Scarlet player because they're in financial need.
Didn't they just sell their best player?
But you have to remember, they sold Bruno Fernandes for, say, 60 million, right? They didn't have 100% rights of his certificate.
Somebody else has.
So say they only had 70%, and then 10% to this team, 10% to this agent, blah, blah, blah. So when you see a lot of these players being sold, very rare is the team getting that full 100% of the money that we hear out there. So that's something, and that in Portugal does affect it, because instead of receiving 60, maybe they only got, I think Sporting, if they sold for 55, I think they only got about 33 because the remainder went to different locations. So it's a big difference. Yeah,
that's crazy.
And then last but not least is Braga sold their best player to Barcelona for 31 million euros. His name is Trincão. He is a offensive winger, all left, 100% all left foot, and he's legit. He just needs to get that level play. It's going to be nice to see him play in a team like Barca to see what he does, but he's very offensive-minded, left foot, and truly has got a shot and really knows offensive games. So, and there's one more thing, going back to Dortmund. Gio Reyna, my man, you can play for the Portuguese national team.
No. We were talking about this earlier. No, Gio's not playing for y'all. He's ours, bro. That's it.
He can play. He can stay in Europe. He's got no reason to come to the States.
For what?
Well, he is only 17 years old, so he'd be put. If he was to come to Portugal right now and play, they would have to throw him in the U21 because he wouldn't in the A squad. He ain't taking over Bernardo Silva.
Giovanni Reyna, 17-year-old from Dortmund. We talked about him. If you guys watch this fucking podcast, you know who he is, right? Well, so he qualifies. He still hasn't been capped senior team by a national team. He qualifies for the United States, right? Because obviously his dad is American. He qualifies for Argentina because his father is also Argentinian, right? His heritage. His mother is Portuguese, so that's what Rui is referring to. So he could be for Portugal, and he was born in the UK. He was born in England. So technically, he's a British citizen. So he can literally play for the US, Argentina, Portugal, or England. He has played his entire career with the United States. His father was one of the best United States soccer players, ever. So it's not happening, bro. It's not happening.
No, and I know it's not going to happen, and not because he doesn't want it. It's because I'm sure if his father's even looking into it, I know his father's doing the homework of, okay, what does Portugal have coming up kind of thing. Portugal has a legit U21 and U19. I mean, they were back-to-back champs in U19 and U21 in Europe. They are truly legit with players at that age level. For anyone to break into that squad, they got to do a lot of work, a lot of legit work. So Portugal is loaded. I'm just joking around the fact that it's interesting to see something like that happen. I don't see it happening for Portugal. I do hope, that he does work and sticks with the United States because they do need a name. They have Christian Pulisic, and a couple of guys here and there, but they need somebody with a bigger name and get some more names into that one team.
It would also be cool, because his dad played for the team,
Yeah.
Kind of said that's a nice storyline. Also, the kid's fucking good, man. Like, he played versus Bayern today. Like,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it's funny, because I've been reading stories that the U.S. is having to consider whether they're going to cap tie him to the national team. Because right now he's only played in youth tournaments. Youth tournaments don't cap you. So if Portugal just so happened to be like, hey, Gio, you want to play for us? He's like, you know what? Fuck it, why not? He could technically go. So the USA is in right now. They're like, has he done enough to earn, a senior team call-up? But it's just that he has other options.
And it's a no-brainer for a U.S. Just call him for one game.
Right,
just
literally.
Call him for one game. Take that risk. Get him capped or call him for whatever amount of times that you need so he can no longer have other options. And then he's at Dortmund for a specific reason because he knows how to freaking ball. His father was Claudio Reyna, probably other than Tab Ramos, probably my favorite USA player, Reyna and Tab Ramos. He knows how to ball. There's a reason why he's at Dortmund. Call him up, whatever number of games until it becomes official, and then go from there. Don't even think about giving him a chance to move somewhere else because United States needs somebody like Gio Reyna on their national team 5 years down the line.
Let's see. What else do I got? Let me see. What else do I got for you, Rui?
We gonna talk about Ronaldo?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, so this is the question segment. I got a couple quick hitters for Rui, right? So
all right, if you want to talk something else, let's go. If not, send the quick hitters. I'm ready.
We go to CR7. Me and Rui bond because we're both fans of Ronaldo. Most people hate Ronaldo. A lot of my friends do. They like Messi. So me and Rui, we always see eye to eye.
That's right.
So one question is Cristiano Ronaldo the best player ever? And two, how long can he play at this top of a level? The guy's 35 years old. but he's a fucking machine. Like, I can see him playing another 5 fucking years.
Well, that's my guess. I can see him playing 5 years at a high level, and maybe a little bit longer should he get a lot of breaks here and there and not having to rely playing every week. If Juve's playing, if he stays in Juve and they're playing a weak team where they don't have to rely on Ronaldo, give him that game off and really just have him incorporate him into the big games and into the Champions League games. I could see him playing for a long time. His fitness is legit. His fitness now is the same what it was 10 years. Don't get me wrong. He ran probably a little faster 10 years ago, but the man is legitly fitted. I mean, he's got like a freaking 17-pack, bro. It's disgusting.
A fucking 20-pack. Yeah, he got a 20-pack.
It's crazy. This guy lives, breathes. He's got the hottest girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, in the world, but he's all about soccer, So when I hear how long can he play for, I say about 5-6 years. And then when I hear you ask, is he the greatest player ever? I'll come back to you and say, what is your criteria towards the greatest player ever?
Right, exactly.
It's tough because is it most goals? Yeah. Is it most Champions League? The way I look at it, he is top 3 without a doubt. Is he the greatest ever? I mean, what I say is put up his stats against anyone, and then I'll let you make the decision. And take the name away. The way I look at it is take Ronaldo's name away, take Messi's name away because he's top 3 in my eyes, and take that number 3 player's name away. Put all their stats in column 1, 2, 3, and you tell me who is the best player in the world based on the stats that you're looking without the name attached to them. And I think Ronaldo's stats will be chosen because his Champions League play is amazing. His records that he owns in Champions League is amazing. Yeah. He owns a lot of them. And what matters to me is he's got the Mamba mentality, R.I.P. Kobe. He shows up in those big games. He shows up in those big games. If it's scoring a hat trick against a Bayern in knockout stage or 2 goals in the final, using that as an example, the stats prove themselves. Numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie where his knockout stage, semifinal, and final stats versus anyone else is night and day. And to me, Champions League, other than the World Cup, that is the highest of the highest level. And he's won a Euro.
Exactly. Now, granted, that was the one where he got hurt in the final, right?
Yep, that's the one that got hurt, but he also did a lot leading to the
bring
final.
Them up there, right?
You know what I'm saying?
It speaks a lot that he got hurt in the final and they still won this shit.
Right. And 2018 World Cup, scored a hat trick against Spain. That free kick goal in about the 84th, 85th minute that everybody will remember. Stuff like that is what makes legends. What makes legends is you score a hat trick against your neighboring country, your compadre, your hermano that is Spain in the World Cup game. You're scoring 2 goals in a Champions League final, or you're scoring something to lead, or you're leading your country to a cup. And he's done that. And if we're comparing it to Messi hasn't done that in the national team stage. He's done that in La Liga, absolutely. He's done that in, Champions League as well too. But then we could also go back to put Ronaldo playing with Javi Hernandez and Iniesta.
On Argentina, right? Yeah, exactly. Or put Ronaldo on Argentina because I think Messi had better teams for the most part in those World Cups. It's usually Ronaldo and you might have Nani, you might have a couple other good dudes. When you talk about Argentina, you talk about some of the best players in the world. You talk
absolutely.
about Di Maria. He played with Diego Forlan, Javi Mascherano and shit. Like, these are world-class players, and he still couldn't get it, over the hump.
Yeah, that's why I think what he did on the national team stage, even though he was hurt in the final, you can't take that away from the guy. He did a lot leading up to it. That's what I think would get him over the top. And I could see them, I think Messi's a little bit younger, maybe a year or 2 younger. I can see Ronaldo another 5 years. I can see Messi another 5-6 years. And then another thing that matters with Ronaldo is he's won everything in England. He won everything in Spain. and now he is trying to win everything in Italy. I mean, would I love to see Messi play in the Premier League? Absolutely. Can I see him handle the roughness that the Premier League is?
Definitely
I
is a
don't think he
different league,
can.
yeah.
I don't think he would get beat up week in and week out, where his body would not be up to par of level of fitness in terms of Premier League play versus La Liga. La Liga, Premier League to me is mid-19 Knicks with Charles Woodson, Charles Oakley, Anthony
Charles
Mason,
Oakley,
and
yeah,
Ewing,
Charles
Derek
Smith,
Harper, right?
Yeah.
To me, La Liga is Rucker Park basketball, where everybody's just freestyling because it's all open, it's all open space. But I'm not knocking on Messi. I love Messi as a player.
Great.
And again, I'm Portuguese. I'm not trying to bias, but I think Ronaldo's stats overall, again, there needs to be a criteria set in place. His overall stats, I think, trump and beat Messi.
So to me, really the only fair criteria are you do it by country and by position. So is Ronaldo the best Portuguese player ever? You've had a lot over there in Portugal.
So the answer would be yes, because he's won a cup for his country and he's done a lot more in terms of club.
Right.
Second best Portuguese ever is the Black Panther, known as Eusebio. He was a forward for Benfica in the early 60s, mid-60s. Legit forward who took Portugal to a third-place team in the 1966 World Cup. I think they were down 3-0 to North Korea, and they came back and won 5-3, and he had 4 goals. That game, if I'm not mistaken, they played Brazil in the semifinals. Brazil had a young Pele, and Portugal beat the shit out of him to try and get him out the game.
Eusebio, it's funny. He's in FIFA. He's one of the icons.
Yep. So he was legit. It'll be Ronaldo, Eusebio, and then I want to say Figo.
Figo? Yeah.
My top 3. Yeah. Figo, a lot of people know, the only player to ever play over 250 games for both Barca and Real Madrid.
That's an interesting stat right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember first game he played against Barca, they threw a pig's head on the field because they were calling him a pig for switching over to Real.
Yeah. She it's different in
that wouldn't happen at Red Bull Arena.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna happen.
You know what I mean?
All, somebody's going to jail for throwing a fucking.
Exactly.
You can't bring a pig head into Red Bull Arena.
And it's funny that we're talking about like difference in what you can bring in stadiums in Europe. There was a Porto Benfica game a couple of years ago where the Benfica goalie let up 2 goals and they were like badly defended. Somehow a chicken ended up on the field and started running around his goal, bro. Like, because when you let up a goal in Portugal that you should save, they call it a frango. They call it a chicken goal, like a cheap goal.
Yeah,
so they call it a frango. And a chicken in Portuguese is known as frango. So the Benfica goalie let up those 2 cheap goals that you probably would have saved or I would have saved. And somehow, a minute after, this chicken comes running out the field by where the Benfica goalie's at. So who the hell brings a freaking chicken to the game?
A live chicken. Who let that shit in the stadium?
Exactly, a live chicken. Exactly, which is crazy. So it's insane. Another reason why soccer in other areas are just more intense and crazier than U.S. is. But hopefully U.S. will be at that level. But again, like, I live next by Yankee Stadium, and I can't watch a game at Yankee Stadium. I can't watch NYCFC.
That field that narrow is.
I can. I need a soccer type stadium like Red Bull Arena to get the juices flowing.
We need it in the fucking 5 boroughs.
Exactly.
In Harrison, New Jersey. I got one more question for you. Can't have a Portuguese dude on a Porto fan and not ask him about Jose Mourinho. So my question is, how long do you think Jose Mourinho lasts at Spurs?
Funny that you ask how long is it going to last there. Put it like this. If Spurs let him spend some money, I think he will last there. Spurs have not spent money this past off season. From what I remember, I don't think they spent money, and if they did, it was very minimal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about him himself. I think the other teams are just a lot more freely in terms of spending money and getting the players that maybe he would want. Do I think he'll be top 3 in terms of classification with Tottenham? It's going to be hard. Will he last there? I think he'll last there. So we're going to finish up this season, and then 1 year. I wouldn't be surprised if he is done after next year.
Mm-hmm. Got you. So they gave him like 2.5, a little bit, right? Yeah.
Right.
Because
but then again,
Jose, he wears out his welcome.
He does.
Especially when he doesn't. It's funny that you mentioned will they give him the players, because he usually wears out his welcome when he doesn't get the guys that he wants. And then he starts criticizing the club and says, well, I wanted this guy. Y'all got me this guy, and this is why we're fucking losing.
Right. So when he got in Porto, so funny thing about Porto, they won the Liga Europa, which was the Europa League, the translation, in 2003. At the time, Porto had the Decos, Ricardo Carvalhos, Paulo Ferreiras, and all that.
You had a squad back then.
Everybody was ready to transfer, including Mourinho. The president, who's been the president of Porto since the early 80s, if not earlier, he said, Jose, let's keep the squad intact 1 more year. Let's make a run at the Champions League. It's like, perfect. We don't have to buy anybody expensive. Instead of taking that money to buy people, let's pay our players' salary for that 1 year so they stay that 1 more season. History tells they win the Champions League in 2004. He moves to Chelsea, takes 3 of our players, spends the money in Chelsea. Chelsea's like a gold mine with freaking Roman Abramovich. You know how that is. He went to the Real Madrid, spending mad money. He went to Inter, spend mad money. Tottenham, I don't think Tottenham has their wallets unless they do it, because they're not known to do it. They're not known to have their wallets open and spend money. Again, we'll see. They have a lot of good players, but to play for a Jose Mourinho squad, you're either with him or you need to be out of the squad, because there's no middle ground. And I'm not saying that because he's Portuguese or he's a Porto player. You have people like John Terry and Didier Drogba, who are respected players in the EPL, voice that, where it's either you're getting along and doing what he does, like I did, like Drogba did, like Michael Essien or Galas, or, those kind of players. Or if you're going to be like Paul Pogba and be a little, excuse my language, bitch, you need to get out of the squad, because Mourinho was not the problem in Man U. If you saw when Mourinho left and Ole came on, Man U still had their problems. And I think we saw where a lot of their problems was certain players didn't belong to be at Man U. If Tottenham opens up the wallet, it'll be interesting to see. But also I think the free agency this summer is going to be very minimal because of everything that's going on. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see if people kind of pick up and agree with what he has to say, and the Dele Allis, the Sons, the Harry Kanes, if they truly, Eric Dyer, who used to play in Sporting Portugal, if they truly grasp of the Mourinho ways of playing and truly listen to him and follow his ways, because he's won Champions League, not just in Porto and other locations. So I think he knows what he's doing.
But does that style work nowadays? That's the knock on Mourinho. Yeah, he did win Champions League in 2004.
I think the style does.
16 years ago.
I think the style works. I think that, but he's also won it with Chelsea. I think he won 2 of them.
Okay, yeah.
So I think, and I don't know if he's won one with Inter, but we'll have to take a look at that after.
I don't think he won one with Inter.
Okay. I don't think it's about his ways. I think it's about the individual players taking grasp of the way he coaches. So you have, and I use Bill Belichick as an example. Not everybody can play for Bill Belichick. And if you're a Bill Belichick type player, you can play for him. So if you're a Jose Mourinho type player, you can play for him. you can be as good as you are, but if you don't feel a fit under his style of play, you might not be of use to him. He's the type of dude that you're winning 1-0, he's going to park the bus for 40 minutes, and he knows he's going to win that 1-0 game.
I hate that shit. I hate that shit so
I
much.
do too.
It's effective though, but like, so I get it.
It is.
And it's with him, it's like, yes, when he coached, at smaller clubs or whatever, that style, is efficient. It's also good in single elimination games, right? I have to win this game. I'm going to win it. I'm going to do anything I can to win it. But that's the frustration that a lot of fans have when he comes into Man U and he plays that shit. And they're like, yo, we got Rashford, we got Martial, we got Lukaku, we got this guy, we got that guy. And you parking a bus for 60 minutes?
Right. Those are attacking
that's
type
where the
players.
Frustration happens.
Yeah. So when he was at Chelsea, after leaving Porto, he had those type of players that fell under the Mourinho mentality, which was John Terry and Ricardo Carvalho as center defenders. You had Paulo Ferreira, right defender. You had the Frenchman Gallas, who was a central defender but moved him to the left. And then you had Michael Essien in the middle, who was a beast. Michael Essien in the middle, who was a beast. You had guys like Obi Mikel and stuff like that, and those guys held the defensive formation down. And then it was like Drogba's like, just get me the ball up here, and I'll create that goal.
Yeah, he's scoring.
You know what I'm saying? So, Drogba did that. They didn't have many. You had Lampard in the middle. They didn't have what we call those quote-unquote offensive geniuses like a Rashford, a Martial, who guys that are offensive-minded only. It was truly like Drogba and everybody else. Everybody do their job defensively. Let's get the ball to Drogba, and he's going to score his 30 goals a season, and we're going to win. And, that worked out well.
Yeah, man, we'll see. But, I had to ask you about Jose, see how he's going to do. But
absolutely. It's funny. Before he coached Man U. So who was this? Oh, so he went from Real to Man U, but he had a time off, right?
Yeah. It was like a year, I think. And
so before he went
because he was doing TV, he was doing commentating and all of that. Yeah.
So before he went to Man U, Porto was having some coaching changes. There was stuff going on, and the president of Porto reached out to Mourinho and said, "I need you to coach for me for 6 months until we get into the summer to get a new coach." Mourinho's like, "No problem." Porto reached out to Man U. Man U put a stop to that because Mourinho had signed with Man U in the winter to be their coach in the summer.
Oh, so they're like, yeah, we're not going to let you borrow him for 6 months.
Exactly. So and the reason why they didn't is because Porto and Man U were still in Europa League play. God forbid they played each other. You would have had Mourinho coaching Porto versus Man U, which was a team that he had a signed contract with the coach. So that would have been interesting. There were some cool interviews that he did a couple weeks ago. But yeah, he was going to be coaching them if Man U would have allowed him for 6 months, which would have been interesting. But like I said, Tottenham opens up the wallet and allows him to choose his style players. It should be interesting.
It definitely will be, man. But yo, I think we're going to wrap it up there, man. Yo, Rui, I really enjoyed this, man. I really enjoyed this. So I haven't seen you in a while. You know what I'm saying? I've been working at the hospital. I definitely got to come up there to Westchester. I got to get me some Juana empanadas. Shout out to my boy Dub and Kennelin. If you're in the Westchester area, Juana empanadas, the best empanadas you ever had in your life. I also want to shout out to my sponsor, Sesh Buddies. You already know, I'm going to link them on IG. Y'all can follow them. And, bro, Rui, I appreciate you coming on, talking Portugal, talking Liga NOS, which is one of the leagues that doesn't really get covered that much. So, hopefully, the listeners to this podcast kind of enjoy it, and maybe they'll tune into some games next week and all of that shit, man.
Yeah, salute to you. First of all, thank you for what you're doing at the hospital during this time period. I know that's the last place I'd want to be, man, but you're doing what you can, holding it down, you and your coworkers. So props to you, and give props to my brother, who's actually EMT with the FDNY. So he's been around all this, and I give props to all you frontline workers and all that. I'm glad to hear everybody's safe. Great to see you. Let's get you to Westchester this summer. Get some empanadas. Let's chill at the boathouse. Get a drink.
We going to the boaty.
And watch some soccer. Too bad the Euro's not going on, but you know what? We're going to have a lot of soccer going on, but that's a whole conversation for another day. But I appreciate you getting me on. Hopefully I'll be invited back in the near future. We could talk whatever you like. My time is always available to you, brother.
That's what's up, man. Yo, so it's your boy E. I guess Rui. You know, we about to go get some empanadas right now.
Facts.
Yo, double up, man, I'm trying to add zeros. Them man there for the other win, but we got it last minute, man, I feel like Aguero. Long time I've been dishing out CVs, but time that I speak to a boss. And my young bro linking these girls, now he pissed, he got makeup on his Fendi top. I'm en route to a mill like Heskey. And my city might be coming for the sterling, I'm speeding like Stanley, so we might get tech. And this ain't no Bentley, she pull us up like I said. She said she wanna go to the finals, could she even hold this semi? Let me talk for a minute. Trying to hit a belly with a squad. More time, that's the reason I was missing. Different, you can see the drip when we step that splash. Was the thought that I might have went fishing. And the Gucci came straight from the Naples, Italy. Big bro looking insane. Looking insane. T just turned 23 now. You're trying to get a watch just to match with the chain. I couldn't wait to the end of the month, man. I had to be up, so I switched up the break. Can't really trying to blow this cake like a birthday. Coming like March the 8th. And I just said I went with bro, man. He said 2 homes gonna be okay. Like we'll be back this summer. Pray to the Lord for the come up, man. You see, I got my hands on a ball Maradona. And this thing try digging for the bees. I tell her I'm broke anymore, that's seller. If this thing try digging for the bees, I tell her I'm broke anymore, that's seller. Double up, man, I'm trying to add zeros. Them man there for the other win, but we got it last minute, man, I feel like Aguero. Long time I've been dishing out CVs, but time that I speak to a boss. And my young bro linking these girls, now he pissed, he got makeup on his Fendi top. I'm en route to a mill like Heskey. And my city might be coming for the sterling, I'm speeding like Stanley, so we might get tech. And this ain't no Bentley, she pull us up like I said. She said she wanna go to the finals, could she even hold this semi?